So the fourth, fifth, yeah, there you go. I've already counted 5 different voices of birds. Guys, today we have a car that completely changes the rules of the game. This car is actually a life hack. Because how else would you get a super fast, abnormally fast, awesome car for the price of something gas-powered and fairly popular and save money on tax, keeping in mind the horsepower on this thing? Today, only one car can give you this. The Voyah 3.
Чуть выше уровня, чем дно. Самое первое, что взрывает вам мозг. Но, блин, не получилось. Вы как у разбитого корыта. Вот это странное ощущение максимально тоже может превратиться в тыкву. Это как какие-то гигантские базуки. И вы едете в отбойник спокойно. Максимально сейчас раскорячимся. Да нормально пойдет. Скажите мне, кто еще так может? Да дай! Да смоги! Да идите нафиг, я теперь солярис. Ты чё, это быки? Вот это тоже фантастика. Почему так? Не знаю.
And to be honest, I didn't expect anything good from it at all. Because, you know, knowing the pedigree on this car originally, and who produces it, and it's Dongfeng, as you know, and Dongfeng, who works with initially? That's right, Nissan. It's, well, you know, we've recently touched on Dongfeng, and I really want to forget it. I'm obviously talking about Evolute, of course, and about all the other versions. But here it seems the best engineers that Dongfeng had were not sent to work on the Evolute, but rather were sent to work on another car. The most important thing for me, and I think that you already know the most important stats and all the basic figures about this car, but the most important thing for me and the most interesting was obviously to compare it with another hybrid, with Li 1, in which I was actually disappointed because they did the hybrid component poorly. Poorly because it could not provide itself with the energy with the small battery that it had. Although, okay, it seems to be enough for 100 kilometers, but nevertheless, it lost a lot of pace as soon as the battery ran out, and it ran out instantly. And in the end, as you know, we were left with nothing and simply did not understand what the hell is the point of this car even existing. And this is why, towards this very specific car was very biased, because, you know, I didn't expect anything good knowing how the Chinese usually make these very hybrids. And yes, we have another example. This is the BYD tank hybrid DMI DMP. Yes, they too, in theory, have already done a little bit better, but we've driven it in China, and not everything is perfect either. Somewhere, somehow, it does some things right. So the Voyah now will be compared in aggregate with the Li 1 and of course with the BYD. But the most important thing is that now it's working. Do you hear the fan? You can even hear the engine. And it does have one 1.5 liters, 115 brake horsepower, a turbo engine that gives out 192 Newton meters of torque. But it isn't even connected to the wheels in any way here, just like it is with the Li 1. Unlike our sedan, by the way, right? The Chin, that was still able somehow, with the help of magic, to turn both the front wheels and the engine. This one can't. Which means it can turn into a pumpkin too. At least I've been trying to do this for however many kilometers now, 150 kilometers, plus the frames we've shot. We're driving extremely fast here and there. We're discharging this battery in electric mode, and we're now draining it as much as we can. It turned out to be roughly 18%. Yeah, okay, it's lost some of its pace, which is fair enough, but how much of this pace has lost, we are now going to find out. 27%, that's less than 30. Okay, brake the gas. Whoa. Well, there is some pace, of course, but in my opinion, not all of it. Yeah, 6 seconds. Now the pace is 6 seconds. That's it, but it's incomplete. It's incomplete. So, even in this castrated mode, it goes from 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, which is actually pretty cool. And then, of course, you'll need to charge it. So around the time when the battery drops below 30%, and the battery here is 33 kilowatt hours, and it's not a, it's not a big one, but it's enough for some everyday needs and to give power to the electric motors. Now, the electric motors, well, how do I put this? These are some giant bazookas in the front and in the back, which means four-wheel drive. The total power is 693 brake horsepower for these electrodes. 693! Just think about those numbers. And you're probably already thinking, damn, why should I need something like this? I'll have to pay a ton of money for it. But no, in the end you pay. And now there should be a drum roll, because according to its documents, the peak 30-minute power is stated, and therefore you pay for the power of 176 horsepower. And this is probably the most important and first thing that blows your mind. You've got a 693 brake horsepower plus 115 horsepower engine, and in short, a ton of horsepower everywhere, but you pay for 176. And you get to drive around quite fast. In short, this car, for me, now, I can see that it's already some kind of a semi-conclusion, but it's unclear. But let's see what will happen at the end of the video. But for now, there is a feeling that I have gone along the path of getting to know this car from the first thought was, I don't expect anything good. Then, well, damn, it turned out, well, perhaps something even cooler than an Infiniti. And yeah, for some reason, you immediately think about an Infiniti in some moments. We will definitely talk about this more once we get inside. And as for how it drives in its space, this is also something that a Nissan has. And it is, in fact, it's like the, the quintessence of what a GTR was back in its time amongst all the other sports cars. You remember it appeared giving some unrealistic pace for its small price, well, compared to, other sports cars. Of course, this car from the official dealers that have added a couple of million on top of what the car costs to bring it in is not the right aim to go for, but from EN cars that helped me book this car, in general, it now costs between 5 to 5.9 million rubles. It may be even cheaper when ordered online and in advance, and this, of course, gives you a price of roughly 5 million. Now, show me another car that can give you 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds for 5 million. Right, let's go.
Woohoo!
Here we go, 2.56 and 5.5. Yes, well, damn it, it's 5.5. It's not all yet. What, more charging is needed? What's going on? They promised 4.5, and in fact, you get 5.5. But again, she was sleeping. This was not REF. It was EV start, and as we know, with EV start, something goes wrong. So we select driver performance. We select performance like that. We lower the car. Oh, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, turn yourself on. What are you doing? And there we go. 0 to 60 in 2.33 and 5 seconds. Yes, 5 seconds. Another half a second faster. It looks like we need to charge it some more. 5 seconds to 100. It's as if electronic music is playing. In general, the massage function works really loud. The car has it, which is nice, but still. You can see what it looks like. Here we have a black and blue interior. Apparently, they tried to cover everything they could with artificial leather. It's here, not so much here, but, you know, it looks very strange, perhaps, but the edging of the backlight for sure. But it's clear that they tried hard and they wanted to make it look cool. But damn, it didn't work. Do you know why? Because in terms of the quality, it doesn't feel very good. It's just good. It's above average, yes, but when you remember to keep in mind the price, you understand that, you know, this is far from excellent. Well, those who wanted to find super premium quality here won't find it. But everything else is fine. This is probably the most important visual impression. And then you will find this magic button, and every time it will greet you so that the front panel will go down. Well, the same will happen when you choose the sport mode, because it's sporty and especially at nighttime, of course. I mean, that's exactly how it was designed. Well, someone will just do it because it's fun, right? You keep on playing with this. But at least they outdid many other manufacturers with this thing, because it actually is very impressive, and it impresses anyone who sits inside this car, who gets in here for the first time, starts the car, because, you know, maybe it's not enough premium, not enough chic here in the car, but with this one really cool feature, they've done it, and it impresses everyone. It's a fact. 3 screens, good resolution, they respond quickly and well enough, nice package, Russian language is already available, massage in the seat, seat ventilation, cameras, this one films you all the time, this one films everyone at the back, and, you know, what else do you need?
Is there karaoke?
Yeah, there's karaoke. It's China. There's a microphone. Here's the microphone. Oh no, actually any car from China that is coming in now, that's a little higher than the bottom. They all have karaoke, you know. You won't be able to refuse. Karaoke should be in any car in a basic package, otherwise no one will ever buy it. In fact, the rest will do. Alright, so cool buttons, levers, you know, sometimes there are peculiarities in its work, because, for example, sometimes you start the engine even by pressing the brake, and you have to press it again as the car won't actually start, so you have to be able to transfer it to drive, you need to press it twice. And at first it was kind of annoying, but you get used to it with time, and this is just how it should be. Right, so let's get back to the question of where the Chinese have deceived us, where they're trying to deceive us, and how successful they are at doing so. This is probably the most important and interesting question, because, I repeat, as soon as your battery charge drops, your power also drops. It begins to limit itself, and most importantly, what I wanted to see and what I'd hoped to see was that they did a button that forces the charge from the tank. The tank itself is small, there's 56 liters, and the magic is that it always consumes the same amount of fuel, no matter how you drive. It seems that if you drive carefully, you'll still have an average consumption of, you know, maybe 10, 11 liters. Yes, okay, there will be acceleration involved, because it's really hard not to accelerate in this car. But if you'll constantly go fast and you'll be driving at fast speeds, your consumption will go up to 13, maybe 14 liters. And if you do this constantly without stopping, you're arriving at those numbers. You can drive calmly, it will be, you know, less than 10 liters. The total always arrives to 10.5, 10, 11, whatever one may say, and at the same time, you know, you still receive the pace of a serious sports car. And that's another life hack, because, well, hell, what other car in the market right now does such things? So it has this one quality which I call teleportation in space, because it is a fast car, and when you're driving in a flow of traffic, there are a few cars here and there, and you need to accelerate quickly somewhere, maybe suddenly overtake or get in front of someone, do whatever you want, because it can accelerate. So the pace has returned. Whoa! So it will not turn into a pumpkin. Now, the only thing that upsets me a little periodically is that it has an adaptive brake pedal, it is adjustable, and some oddities in its behavior can be annoying. So sometimes you can slow down, and it slows down more than you want it to. So you linearly apply the brake, and when it slows down some more. The tank had the same, and this transition is sometimes a bit unnatural, so it can be uncomfortable. In terms of adjustments, everything's okay here. So the adjustments are fully electronic for the seats, except for those of the steering wheel. The steering wheel is mechanically adjustable, but the height and the angle are there, so that's good. The seat is better than the one in the Dreamer, more lateral support both on the top side and on the bottom side, and you can, sit pretty well in them, especially considering these really nice headrests. Do we have a glove box? With microlift. Wow, there's no such thing in the Dreamer. That's funny, right? Oh, you haven't seen it yet, have you? Yes, you probably haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen the Dreamer yet. You'll see the Dreamer, get ready. There, you'll get a real boost of energy. I'm surprised a little, because if you know, it's more expensive, and there's... Alright, I'll keep quiet for now, but you better get ready. The music is cool. The only thing that pisses me off is that sometimes it doesn't catch Bluetooth. So you can come in, sit down with your phone, put it on, turn it on, everything immediately begins to play and loads, no problem, quick connection. And sometimes you're already driving for 5 minutes and nothing happens. Why? Some strange manipulations going on. So there are 3 screens. This is done very conveniently, by the way, and here are all the controls. So many people need to learn how they've made the screen for the passengers, because it's really nice. Of course, the Wi-Fi connection in our forest is not so well at the moment, but you can load everything. It's very convenient. Everything's really beautiful, everything's good, nice touch screens, conveniently located, all the menus are available. In general, the contents are okay. There are buttons that you need, all the quick access, everything is right under your control. As for the autopilot, it's weak. There's just the adaptive cruise control that holds the lane more or less, but you're going to stumble from line to line. And then there's the next level. It's called a traffic jam assist, TJ, literally, that's what it stands for. And every 15 seconds, it asks you to return your hands back on the steering wheel so that the general process resembles a real driving experience. So no cheating's allowed. If this doesn't happen, then you have one warning, and in another 5 or 10 seconds, you go through any of those lines right into the guardrail. So the car is, of course, obsessed with safety because initially there are a lot of notifications. The distancing signal is very, very small. In reality, we don't understand how we can use it here in Moscow or other cities in Russia because this is a fast-driving car. You need space. You don't need space, sorry. You're going to be traveling very close to other cars. And this car, it even blinks towards falling trees. We didn't film that process, but it did happen. So it is quite annoying. It is very strange with all of this. Because it does seem to be pulsated on safety, but the autopilot is very weak. But nonetheless, with all this fixation on safety and initial security, the autopilot is weak. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe they just paid no attention to it. Everything went into brake horsepower, went into power in general, into acceleration. Right, so the cool sounds in the back, and it started to warm up well. We've just been sitting here for a long time, sitting for like 3 hours, and we've been charging this car in order to move away from the 18% of battery charge and achieve some kind of pace. 3 hours have passed, and we are at 38%. At idle, there is an increased consumption of gasoline. So yes, engine works as a generator for us, so it's possible. I've even found a button where you can press to increase the RPM to charge it better, but the car informed us, do not use this function except when passing the annual emissions tests. So, all right, we won't do it. So what's annoying? It's annoying that you can't regulate the energy recovery. You can make it smaller or bigger, but how much? By how much? To what degree? I'd like to manage energy recovery levels like the Germans always did. And, you can't. Again, I would like to have the ability to drive on the energy that I've recuperated. So, okay, I will adjust my braking, I will have it in an adequate mode for myself, but I will be driving in this style, I'll be thinking about saving money, and I'll be thinking about being able to return more to the battery. And this is what I want to do. Again, you've set up the recovery energy, but it seems you've made it bigger, but you don't feel it. And that's the weak part of the car. The battery, as I said, is 33 kilowatt hours, whilst the consumption of the battery is also quite serious. And for some reason, it's never higher than 40 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. It's a lot. But if you drive calmly, it will be around 25, 27 kilowatts. That's for 100 kilometers, in theory, in a calm mode, 100 plus. Maybe a little more, which should be enough. That's good, because for all, your everyday needs, in purely electric mode, without spending much fuel, you, in theory, should have time to get everywhere and get it back to home and put it on charge. And, charge it without even consuming much fuel. And I repeat, this is a 1.5-liter low-boost engine, uses 92 gasoline, so 10 liters of RON 92, tank is small, and as a result, the numbers you see on the dashboard are not very grandiose. Well, there's a maximum of 500 kilometers or even 450 with a full tank and another 100 kilometers range on the battery. And, combining all of this gives you more driving on the same level of fuel and battery, lowers the consumption in total. Has that been achieved? Let's see. So, I don't want it to rest, so I've restarted the engine because we have a test ahead of us. We have to understand how it drives under different conditions, and so we gotta let it do its thing. The main fact is that it can carry on charging itself and not let me down by running out of energy and saying, you know what, screw you, I'm a Solaris now. So to me, this is an important part. The distance to empty is not that great when all factors of the electric and the petrol engine are combined, and this is probably a strange feeling that goes against expectations. But it does have several versions, and we have this one. It's like a super sport version. It has a lot of power, and it is quite crazy, but at the same time, the attitude, of course, is completely different to other versions. So Voyah have decided against making it a proper sports car, especially in terms of handling. They've just approached creating this thing for everyday use. And you will want comfort from a car like this, and it has plenty of it. And if you look at other brands, you will understand that the difference is quite substantial because other brands lack it considerably. And Voyah has the comfort, especially for its money. The soundproofing is reasonable, it can be improved, but together with the music, with the steering adjustments, the pneumatic suspension setup, in my opinion, they did a very good job. There is a combination of qualities which makes this car excellent. They did have to save money somewhere, so in terms of super tricks, there is a certain limit. They've just made a good car, so the main qualities are there, but they didn't think much of the little things, like, okay, it'll do, because the cameras are simple, they don't blow your mind, they're just normal on a reasonably small screen, simple basic cameras, nothing super interesting. No fancy windscreen wipers either, with built-in supply of water, things like that. They're just ordinary, with nozzles pissing water from under the hood. Good old-fashioned setup. Aerodynamics cause the water to twist. Once the water stream is past the side mirror, there's like a full-on turbulence. So it's not a steady stream of water going backwards, but a proper whirlpool. Perhaps no one thought of this much too. The roof is panoramic, it's with electrochromic dimming. It's transparent at first, but then you press a button and it turns translucent. You can still see through the roof, but the sun is not burning you up anymore. It's good enough to save you from the heat of the sun, but it's still pretty bright inside the car. So if we look up and we press the button, we can see the magic work. Boinks, and the force disappears. And now it's back. It seems to me that this can be done endlessly. My kids ask me to do this about 15 times, and I can understand why. It's great. I don't really like the sun visors, as they are very simple and flimsy. I mean, it will do in general, but the visors are pretty small. It's all quite strange. But okay, let's not be critical. I don't like the sunglass holder also. It is too simple. So basically, in some areas, the car is much simpler than we would like. For example, here, these inserts, you know, you really treat it like a really cool car. But once you remember the official price in Russia, you realize there should be no flows at all. Then you remember the price in China or at EN cars, and then everything falls into place. Then you can forgive all these minor setbacks, because the main trick of this car is something else. It's okay, it'll be just fine. Stop being so picky with all these fantasized quality issues. This is not a Rolls-Royce, what do you expect? That's basically how I'll calm myself down. Because something in this car will really amaze you, and this will be how it drives. How they gave up on some kind of super handling of a sports car, which every electric car has. It is a hybrid, so it's not that heavy at the bottom. Because the battery isn't that big. Although, of course, it is heavier than normal cars. It's still over 2 tons, and that's a lot. Well, it is a 5-meter car, so that's kind of expected. In the end, the main thing is how it drives. Thanks to this pneumatic suspension and the way this pneumatic suspension is set up, the first feeling you have, like, oh, it's not like the Germans have it. Yeah, it lacks comfort somewhere. Then you pass the first joint, you think, do it again. The next one, speed bump, and you understand that everything is fine with the pneumatic suspension. It's comfortable, it's good, it's manageable. But the most important thing is how, in combination with the chassis setup and the cows on the road and the steering wheel, you drive and whoa, easy, what are you doing, Jeez, these are bulls. Look, you know, walking and scowling. Can you imagine this? There's a cow and 2 bulls in the back, and they're like, yeah, what are you doing? All right, so here are some bulls. Wow, Sanya, it's a bull. Look how big it is. Jesus, it's taller than our car. It's a giant bull, Sanya. Wow. Damn, I didn't even think they, live up to be that size. Jeez, look, there's quite a few of them. Come on, mate. Chop, hurry up. Get your ass in gear. There's quite a few of them, eh? Jeez. And now this cow, oh boy, he's kind of following them. That's quite funny. Let me show you how much space is in the back, and all in all, you will already understand everything you need to know about this car. It's interesting in the back, and do you know why? Voyah is written here, all these inserts, but actually I'm sitting behind myself, in theory, and because it pulled back when I was getting out, which means that there's really a lot of space in the back. The seats themselves are soft, they are a bit low, but in terms of comfort, all in all, it will do. So here's the armrest, here are the cup holders. The armrest is not very big, there's no heated seats in the back, and let me remind you that these damn Chinese couldn't put them in. So simple inserts everywhere, nice backlighting, beautiful speakers. So all in all, it's a pretty nice back end. A couple of USBs, one Type-C, one Type-A, and Voyah here, Voyah there, Voyah everywhere, and the panoramic roof is great, I think. So here are the headrests. They're a bit simple, but you can bend the sides to fit your head. It is quite hard, of course, but you can bend them a little so they suit your head. Of course, this is not possible for the central one. Right, shall I show you how the seats fold in the back? There we go, almost a flat floor. nothing more. The main thing to see here is that I bumped my knees again and again when I turned around against this corner, and well, there's still a lot of space, and I'm sitting almost my full height thanks to this roof. And when you relax and sit back, there's even more space, which means that the main conclusion about sitting in the back is that this is a full-on, proper-sized car that fits 5 people. So, to sum up, you need to pay attention to the fact that this is a full-on, large 5-seater car. It's almost 5 meters long, and usually in my videos, every time I made you change from one car to the other, and this is another candidate being added to the list. And I will try to convince you to move, if you've previously had something with pneumatic suspension, a large crossover, so this is a car you can move on to. It looks like a slightly elevated hatchback with these overlays, but then again, that's what the Germans do. It's their style, and it's quite cool. Why? Because there's a lot of space inside, and no one bothered for the sake of the trunk, and we can go around and check it out. So the button, by the way, is located in quite a cool way. It's right under the wiper. And here we have the C-Works. Here you go. That's the trunk space you have. Here's the subwoofer. The subwoofer. Let me remind you again. Nice rug. You can't lift the floor because there's a lot of important things that are under here and you can't go there. So the Chinese are very clear in letting you know that, can't go here. Very important parts. Because if you were in a German car, you would be able to lift this. They would show you some nice cool tricks that are happening under there, the spare wheels, maybe other spare parts. But the Chinese told us, no, you're not allowed in here. Where I see something more or less simple, though, is the boxes. And you say, wait, what's happening? What do you think about this? What do you mean? And, even the Germans do these boxes in a much more premium way. But there is no hints for premium at the moment at all. It would have been a little bit better, but not yet. They're still working on it, work in progress, maybe next time. So basically this is how you shove all these small trunks away. It's quite nice. It's not a Toyota Camry, still quite good. Nice upholstery, nice and soft, some sockets, some hooks, enough for everyday use. It's quite nice. But of course there is no colossal, gigantic volume. Why do we carry C-Works oil, you ask? A Japanese brand and a good price-to-quality ratio. Because, of course, there is an internal combustion engine inside after all. And many people write to me and comment that, I've been talking about C-Works oil with you for more than a year and a half, but I still get the same comment all the time. What Japanese? Who's Japanese? What brand is Japanese? In Bulgaria, my friend. They are pouring it in Bulgaria. The European line, yes, my friends, it is made in Bulgaria and is poured into plastic bottles. GXTG Nippon Oil, the Japanese factory, pours into metal bottles. So I recommend that you subscribe to the Telegram channel because not only I raffle off C-Works oil, but they also have constantly gifts, hold raffles every day or week, and they have something new every time, so it will be helpful for you guys. Of course, when you have such pace, which is more than suitable for urban accelerations and dynamic driving, I have to say it's not suitable for when you want to enjoy yourself on a racetrack. Despite the fact that the pace is really good, but on the track you also need good handling. Feeling through the steering wheel, there are two modes, sports and normal, but at the same time both of them are not very informative. You are unlikely to enjoy how it passes turns. It is comfortable, it is manageable, but it's not handling like a sports car. At the same time, the pace is really impressive. For me, this is like flight mode. This is like teleportation from one turn to another, and the speed is incredible. You just think, wow, what an incredible car. And that is a really cool feeling, because what you want from a car is to accelerate fast, and this one makes it really, really well. You are as if you're sitting in some kind of accelerator, and that is really cool. No car will make you feel this way for the money that the Voyah costs. Even a Tesla is more expensive, smaller, and worse inside. So here's the turn, we pass it. Of course, it's all nice and clean, the car is following the steering wheel, but there is no sporty feedback from the wheels as I turn. So it's just a normal turn, and it is like a comfortable Tesla. It feels like an elevated, comfortable Tesla. And in terms of pace, of course, the Tesla will probably beat it, especially in sports mode, and when it's fully charged. There is a long-range version. The battery is not 33 but 39 kilowatts and seems like a so-so long range, but in fact 150 kilometers should in theory be done. Why? Because it has a less powerful engine. It has 490 brake horsepower, but at the same time, the performance characteristics are actually not that low. So the pace from 0 to 100 is only 0.3 slower. This is quite fantastic. I can't quite understand how they did it, and it seems that they've cheated somewhere. It's bad that there's still no button for forced charging from the engine. You have to kind of catch and feel how it works. Occasionally, it will get you 5% charge, and it'll stop. You have to restart the engine. But instead of that, I would like to have the ability to tell it, you know, that's it. Until you get to 40 or 50% charge, you do not turn off the engine at all. Waste my fuel. I paid for it. I want to have pace now. I don't know. I wasted some electric power from the battery because I was going somewhere fast, and I used it all up and all of that, but, you know, I want it to be like this. So far, this is not the case for China. Hybrids from China can be separated into stages, and there are some stages where the engineers did not care about energy management control at all, like in Li1, for example. The BYD is a little better, the Voyah is better still. You know, the Cyan has a smaller battery, so it charges a little bit faster, and you don't have to worry about things so much. I mean, whilst you're driving, it usually adds 15% or so, which is nice. So, these power charging and management systems are what is needed. I have a complex system here. I want it to work for me in the way that I see fit, and not just watch it work itself into some algorithm, and then I have to adjust my actions. So, right now I need to think about parking, or maybe going somewhere for it to recharge itself. Sometimes it recharges, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it uses up all of the battery energy and then it decides to recharge. How can one understand this logically? For me, it doesn't work out very well. As a result, I want a simpler control of the system. I understand that many do not care at all. They don't even know what they have. People just read the brochure. There is the pace, there's a lot of horsepower, it is inexpensive, so we gotta go buy it. And then they go, oh wow, so it turns out that, you know, you need to charge it? Oh wow, I didn't even know this could do it. And if you charge it, the consumption will be less? That's incredible. The Chinese really outdid themselves. It is a cool system. It's really interesting. But the ease of interaction with it, it exists, yes, because you don't have to bother it with it if you don't want to. You can just drive and it will be like an ordinary gasoline car, only the one that consumes less. But it drives fast and the reactions are really fast. The main thing is that it will get you there. You know, I press the pedal and without a pause, without delay, it's accelerating like crazy. There's a small straightening up of the road, we hit the gas and boom, we're at the turn already and we have to brake. It gets crazy. I mean, in several seconds, in fractions of a second even, you tear up these roads. Now, if we point out some of the key features, the pneumatic suspension is an important thing you need to know, which, by God, raises its class in the eyes of anyone who will consider it, because, you know, few manufacturers from China give us this option. Basically, at this price, it's usually springs or adaptive shock absorbers at best. Suspension here is really cool. You know, it also changes clearance height, and there's quite a good range. So from the lowest position to the highest position is roughly 10 centimeters, which is good. The car is now in outing mode. We still have English here, but Russian is already available. You can get Russian software updates just as easily as you would from official dealers. Moreover, I would say that there are services coming for this car which will be better in quality than those from official dealers. The battery is a single monolith. It's a perfectly flat floor. There are dust covers in the front and in the back here. And this is just hellish metal. It seems that the car can become a sled of some sort on this battery, and you can slide from some mountain in the winter, and especially along the bends in like a staggering manner from side to side and slide into somewhere. Everything's leveled out nicely here. There's no super clearance, but the fact that you can raise it seems to me a good idea. And of course, since it has pneumatic suspension and four-wheel drive, we must definitely see how electronic systems work off-road. We have tested the Li1 here. It did pause for thought. Something was uncomfortable for it. The GAC was also tested here. Yes, true, it happened in the winter, but the road is still here and it's still shit. Right, let's look at the outing mode. It is off-road, I guess. Some strange name for the off-road mode. Maybe it's not actually off-road. We're going to find out. Gonna hit this road at an angle, so make it as hard as possible for the suspension to work. I hope it doesn't get rattled anywhere. So let's look at the electronic simulation. Gas to the floor. Sorry, but it looks like, yep, it looks like and feels like a QX60. Yep, infinity.
Fuel mode.
Here it is, guys. Here is the main weakness of Voyah.
О, ребят.
Comfort mode. In comfort mode, bit by bit, little by little it goes. Do you feel it? Yeah, the engine. It gave like some extra revs there on purpose so that it starts going. That's what it seems. Here, so, I don't want to shamble here, but I'm on the brakes. This is like a really strange feeling of, as if you're over revved, but something strange is going to happen, but it doesn't. Ooh, are you okay, Sanya? All right, there we go. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Up. A little bit of tension. Come on, tense up everywhere. Come on. Right, well, in short, I passed. It was difficult, but I passed. Too damn hard in comfort mode. I turned to outing mode. That okay? Well, in short, in outing mode, you can still manage it smoothly, which is nice, but, we gotta save the bumpers. After all, the car belongs to Zhenya. There we go, straighten the wheel out a bit. Is it passing it? Still, let's take it easy, because otherwise the person will be upset and say, well, can't do this, it's too hard. Well, damn it, this is an unpleasant surprise, and it's the first one related to this test drive. I hope that it would not be like that. But no, it's always very difficult to bend diagonals, especially because you have to drive through them. You have to realize we're in eco mode, and there will be an overhang now, so wheels will be unbalanced. Here it is. It's necessary to go forward on straight wheels, and this is in eco mode. Gas to the floor. Helplessness. Helpless. Switch on comfort mode. Oh, there we go. Some imitations appear. And we hear the engine start. There we go. Starting to crawl forward little by little, millimeter by millimeter. That's good. So that's it. As you can see, outing mode. It's called outing, more precisely, but I guess it's off-road, but not really off-road. It's quite weak. So the conclusion,
the car is not suitable for off-road. And one more point, again, in favor of the Voyah compared to Li1, for example, is that it does not constantly drain the energy from the battery as you move in your normal typical speeds. And in order for it to start using up the battery and decrease it strongly and come up to zero charge, you need to drive at a constant speed of 150 kilometers an hour or higher, or accelerate constantly, because even today, during the test drive, we've been using save mode. After all, I use it in any case so that the engine helps to recharge the battery, because I don't have access to a charging outlet all the time, and you have to keep that in mind. It helps you save the pace, and it does increase the consumption. But at the same time, if you charge it every day and then you spend the energy from the charge to have a reduced consumption, then you will hit those sweet numbers of 10 liters or less. And I've never felt during my entire test drive, which lasted about 2 weeks, I've never felt it lose energy and turn into a pumpkin. It's always somewhere in the region of 50 to 60% charge, so we can always carry on. How it does it, I didn't quite understand, but today we started testing a lot in different modes, and it's becoming more clear. In general, in any case, the car is more interesting and cheaper than the Li1. It is comparable in price to the tank. Maybe occasionally you can even find it cheaper after all, and this is also its strong point. This is a unique combination of qualities for the current market we have, and I think this is why it's so widely popular. Overall, in general, everything that it has is really, really cool. It's a real gold nugget, a real piece of gold in our market at the moment, which you can still buy for more or less reasonable pricing, because you will not find nothing similar in terms of pace, in terms of comfort, in terms of size, and unfortunately, there is no hint of premium here. You can throw in some comments in the comment section about other cars you think compare, but I don't see any alternatives. Everything is cool. Somehow, everything's really cool. Unrealistically cool. How have they done it? I don't know. In fact, you are so imbued with this car that you're already willing to forget and disregard all its flaws, because the strengths seriously outweigh all of it. You're captivated by its pace, by the comfort, by the fact that, all in all, for this price, you can go and buy an official Monjaro, and you think to yourself, what for? This is China. Ladies and gentlemen, this is China. They can already do this, do you understand? It's just a hybrid. Well, yes, of course, they have an EV as well. They've already have a minivan and a sedan. And we're just talking about a Dongfeng, from which we've only seen some really strange fakes before. And you got to wrap your head around how they've stepped up their game and how strongly and quickly the Chinese manufacturers have developed. And if you don't believe it, you can always come back to take this car for a test drive, go for a ride, and get stunned at what it's capable of. I'm shocked. And now we are slowly approaching to our rating of EVs and hybrids, where the first place is taken by Zeekr 001. It does have something that the Voyah doesn't, but however, Voyah is cheaper, and that's the main reason for the change. And you know, of course, we're waiting for the 001 to test in the near future, and that we will reveal more information about it, but we can still already make a comparison. I want to put the hybrid specifically, into first place in our ranking, even despite the fact that it does not have some kind of gigantic margin in terms of range, but it has the pace, the comfort, and many other functions needed for everyday life. We even have a good enough service in Russia, and you can have Russian language. And in my opinion, actually, for now, it is probably one of the best options that you can buy for 5-6 million rubles.
Сейчас это, наверное, один из лучших вариантов, что вы можете купить за 5-6 миллионов рублей.
Shock and provocation, because some cars that are now being sold in our market for 5-6 million rubles are incredibly far away, and that's including the official warranty, are incredibly far away in terms of quality from what Voyah is. We want more cars like Voyah 3 in our lives. And I think that soon we will see all of this. That's all, folks. Thank you all very much for your attention. Choose the cars that you like, that sink into your soul, and drive them, and then you will have a little more fun in this life. Bye, guys. You can't wrap your head around the fact that you're driving and you still have like 700 brake horsepower there, and somehow the engine just like turns on and the pace suddenly improves even more. You know, that's a really strange story.
Странная история.